Hi everyone, this is Marilyn Blair. I'm coming to you with a follow-up video to the Canva workshop that I did with Lancaster Christian writers on October the 19th. We covered a lot of material that day, and I thought it might be helpful if I did a follow-up video for you where we go over just doing that one simple design. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. We're going to skip a lot of the things that we talked about during the workshop in this effort to just kind of focus our attention on one design. So let's just get right to that. As you can see, I'll just point out in the banner, Droptober is still coming. I still don't know what that is, but we'll see some new features in just a few hours. So by tomorrow, we'll all know what the mystery is. And so you can check that out for yourself later. So what I thought we'd do is do another Facebook post. So I'm just going to click on that. Before I do, though, I just want to point out the difference between this search bar up here and these icons. If you're looking to use templates or you're looking for a design that you have done, you would go up to this search bar and you would enter in whatever it is you're looking for. So let's just say you were looking for a Facebook post and you would enter that. And now you'll see all your designs. I have 20 of them that I've done for Facebook, or I could slip down to the 20,000 Canva templates that I can use. But for our purposes today, I want to start with a blank page. So I'm going to clear this out and I'm going to go use my back arrow to get back to the home page. And I'm going to click on this post because these icons, what they will do is give me a blank page. So I want the blank Facebook post. Now that's taking me, now I'm in the design menu. If you can see over here, design is highlighted, so it's just telling me this is where you are right now. I can't do anything with this blank page until I click on it. So I click on it once and you'll see that I've got this purple box around the entire design, and all that says is you're working on this full blank page right now. You're ready to go. So what are we going to create? We're going to let's just do an ad like we did at the workshop for an upcoming event. Maybe it's an author chat. So I want to go over here now to my design screen. When I highlight that, this new menu pops up. I have templates again. So if I change my mind and I say, you know, I really could use a little help here, maybe I want to just use a template instead, you still have that opportunity. So if you hover over templates, you get this menu, and these are all different templates that you can choose from. And all you would do is say, okay, I like this one. I'm going to just click on it and it pops it right into the screen. But since we don't want to do that, we want to start with that blank screen. I'm going to just use this button here, one of my favorites, the undo button. So it just takes me back to that blank screen. So I'm going back to this menu, but do you see I'm not back to the original design menu yet. I'm with the menu that was connected with that template that I used. That's what all this color is here. So all I need to do to get back to that is get back to this little arrow here, and it brings me back to the menu that I want. So we talked about when you're building your design, it's helpful to go from back to front. And so we're going to actually do that today because I didn't do it that way at the workshop. We kind of did from the middle. But today we'll do it from the back. So I want to get a background. I want something pretty simple. So to get to my backgrounds, I can go to two places. On this menu on the left-hand side, I have design, elements. Those are things like your shapes and graphics and your AI and movies and photographs are all under that menu. This is text. It's exactly what you think it is. This is probably something you don't have unless you have the pro version. That's where your brand kit lives. Uploads are all the things that you have uploaded. So it could have been a design that you did that you downloaded to your computer and then re-uploaded as a finished product. That's what the Canva workshop these images are. Draw, I told you before, don't use it. It's kind of messy. It's not worth it. Projects, that's your folders. Apps, we're going to skip all that. Videos, these are helpful for background. I don't really want a video for my background for this. I want something very simple. So here's the one I could look at. This is backgrounds. So I'm going to click on that, and it's just going to stabilize my middle menu here. And you can see this is recently used backgrounds. Maybe there's a background I really like, and so I'm going to click see all. And these are just all different backgrounds that I have used in the past, and it's fairly recent past. So maybe there's something in there I really like, but not today. So I have to click out of that. I'm going to clear that with the X, and it brings me back to everything else. Landscapes, patterns, gradients. Honestly, you want to keep your background pretty simple. So you don't want to have a lot of business going on back there. So I think what I really want to do is not use a full background. I want to just use a piece of something. So I'm going to go back to elements, and then I'm going to go to graphics, and then I'm going to hit see all. And here's one that I like to use. It's pink, and there it is in black. They're very similar. So I'm going to just click on that. It's going to bring it up dead center of my design once again. I'm not sure that's the color I'm going to want to use, but it doesn't matter because I can change that later. What I do know is it's not the right size. I need something that's bigger. So how I get bigger is, if you look, each corner has that dot that turns purple. And if you notice, unlike the designs we did at the workshop, this one does not have those little rectangular boxes here on each of the sides. That means you can only resize it this way by dragging those circles, because they want you to keep the same ratio in the design. It's not going to change that whatsoever. So I wanted to go from top to bottom. I'm going to go back to if this was small, just so you can see once again what I did. So this is pretty much how it came up. Notice that the little purple box is now surrounding the graphic. It's no longer in the whole design. If I click outside of the graphic, it takes me to the whole design. I don't want to mess with that. I only want to mess with this. So I just click anywhere within that. It doesn't matter. It'll box it off for me. Then, since it doesn't matter, every dot is going to change the image at the same ratio. I can pick whichever one I want. Frequently what I'll do is I will left click inside of the design, hold that down, and then I'll move it wherever I want it to be. I like to move it into a corner, and then I'll go to the opposite corner, the diagonal, and then pull it. And then that just gets me right up to the edge of the design. It's off center right now. I might want it there. I don't know. Maybe I'll want to have it dead center. So to start the design, I want to put it dead center. So again, all I have to do is click within the design. I'm going to left click, hold it down, and then just move it. As I move, different lines are going to pop up. One, there's my vertical centering line. You notice that I'm not getting the horizontal centering line. That's because the design is already going top to bottom, border to border, so it's already centered. They don't need to give me that line. So when I'm satisfied with where it is, I just let go. And now it's done. Okay, so now I need an image. I want to put something on top of this. Since it's going to be an author chat, let's put a book up there. I could put an image, a headshot, if it was me or somebody else. I could do a lot of different things, but for now I'm going to do just a book. Now I'm going to go to my uploads because I already created a book cover. You can see here's you know what, let's use this one. These are two books that I've written, and let's say I'm going to talk about both of these. Now the only problem with this is that it's got a background. So since I have Pro, I can go to background remover and just click on that, and it's going to get rid of the background for me. Now, if I wanted to take the time, I have these two book covers saved as individual files in my uploads. So I could have just gone there and just clicked on it. It would have popped it right in the center and it would have done the same thing. But since I'm trying to get through this a little quicker, I'm going to just use this one. Now, again, it plopped it dead center. We know from the rule of thirds, we don't want our main design to be in the center. We want it to be off to the side. And so I'm just going to left click, hold that down, and then move it to the left. I want to keep it horizontally centered though. So I'm going to leave it there. I know that's too big already. I can just tell there's hardly any room over here for the text. So I'm going to go to my corner, hover over it, left click, hold it until I make it maybe about like that. But I have all this blank space. Why do I want to leave that there? I don't. So I'm going to just pull the design over right to the edge. And then when I'm happy with it, I let go. Now, I will probably play with that some more. Now you're going to see me several times during this design do this. So here I am working this. I know I'm doing this because I've got my purple box. Now I want to get out of that. So I'm going to click anywhere on the screen. And that gives me back to the full design. That means if I hover over this, I'm not messing with anything. Here's the whole design. So now I want to add my text. I'm going to go back to this menu to the left, find the text menu, click on that, and I have options. And I'm going to click on each one just so you can see what they do. Title just comes up with a title like that. Subtitle, you're underneath. Heading. Now, why you're seeing different fonts is because in my brand kit, I have saved different fonts. But you will still get these. It just will be whatever the random or the default font is that Canva decides. But you'll still get title, subtitle, heading. Now, click out of that. We have different kinds of boxes. I'm going to move this for you so you can see it a little easier. Along with being able to move it by just left clicking in the box and pulling it, did you see there's this other little button that comes up with two arrows? If you click on that, you can move it too. That sometimes when you have a very small element, that button is really handy to have because sometimes it's just hard to get into that. So in this title box, I've got my same four corners, and I have these only two rectangular bars. They serve just a little bit different function than the rectangular bars in images. What this does is just stretch out the box. And why you want to do that is to prevent what happened here. So this little box, that's all they're giving you, the room to write in. And if your word is bigger than the box, that's what it's going to do. So if I know that I'm going to write more than one word, I'm going to stretch that box out using that little rectangle. I'm going to delete this box because I don't really need it. I have options here. Right there is the trash can, so I can hit that, or I could have just, in this one, just hit the delete key, and it does the same thing. All right, so now I've got title. And my title is going to be author chat. Now, what I just did was I clicked inside the box, and it highlighted the word title. If I hadn't done that, let's just say it looked like this, and I tried to type, I'm typing right now. See, nothing happened. Just this other box popped up for me. I don't need that. Go away. That's just another text box. So I want to click inside the box. And you see, I just did it and nothing happened. I know I'm still outside the box because this little menu just came up. So I just needed to click again, and now I'm in it. The word is highlighted. I can change it. So I'm going to say author chat. I want to get out of that box because now that's all I want to have in there. Boom, done. I clicked outside. Now if I want to move it or I want to make it bigger, I can. So because now I know how big this word is, I'm going to smush in the box a little bit just so it's a little cleaner to work with. And I'm going to move it off to the side where I think I want it to be somewhere like that. Now, I want that word to be bigger. I have two different ways I can handle that. I can use the little dots that we've been doing before, and I'll just show you. That'll just expand that right away. Or I can click inside the box. Here we go. And then go up to here, and that's the font size. And I can either put in a number if I want it to be 110. I can just click on that and say 110 and hit enter, and now it's 110, obviously too big. Or I could use the minus or the plus, and if I just hold down the minus, it'll get me to the point where it'll fill the box on one line, and that's as big as it can go on that one line. The other thing I can do is get back in the box, click on that until everything's highlighted, and then I can click bold, I can click italics, I can do underline. That's what all these different buttons are for that. We don't need that though. But do you see when I hit bold, it made the box, it took that second word to the second line. Well, if I want them on the same line, I have to go back to that little horizontal and pull it out a little bit to get them on the same line. So that's fine now. So I'm going to click out of the box, and I'm going to just move it over a tad. That's all. Now, aside from the author chat, I need to know the date and the time. So I have two choices here. I could click on another title, and I will get another title box like that. Or I'm going to undo that. Or I could go back to author chat and click this button, and it's going to duplicate the box that I just did. Now, I like to do it that way, and I'm going to pull this just so you can see. The reason I like to do it that way is because now if I changed the font from the default, if I did it in bold, if I made it bigger, if I changed the color, all of that will be duplicated. If I just go back to the title, I have to do it all over again. So why do that? Just duplicate the original. Then I just click inside until I get it highlighted, and now I can change it to whatever I want to say. So, oops, I just hit my computer. Sorry about that. So we'll say November 4th, 2024, 7 o'clock p.m. That's what I want to happen next. And I'm going to click outside of that. And then I want one more piece of information, which is where is this going to be held? And so I'm going to duplicate this box again. I'm going to pull it out of the way just so I can see it. This is probably not where it's going to live, but it's where I want it to be for now. I just clicked inside the box and I highlighted the whole thing, and I can say it's going to be, let's say, we'll just say it was at Petra Church since that's where the workshop was. And obviously I need to make that box a little bigger, and I'm going to say, comma, New Holland, PA. And again, I need to make the box a little bigger. All right, so that's all the information I want to have on that page. That's it. I don't want another word. It's almost too wordy as it is, but we're going to leave it like that. So now I need to make it look a little bit more appealing. So first of all, I can see this is in the wrong spot. So I'm going to pull this down, and actually, so now I'm horizontally centered. And occasionally I like pulling things off of the page just a little bit. It adds just a little interest. And if you remember what we talked about, how your eye moves through an image, that just adds a little bit more motion to it. So I've done that. Now, all this information is not equal. This is the most important thing. I want to tell people what's going on. So I want my author chat to be the biggest text that's on that page. So I'm just going to the corners and I'm pulling it till it's big. Do you see this dotted line that has just come up? I can't point to it or I'll lose it. But that dotted line, all that's saying is you are now lined up. Everything on the right is lined up together. So it's lining up with that PA at the bottom. So if I let go, it goes away. It's a handy thing when you're trying to make sure everything is lined up, if that's your purpose. That's not our purpose in this design, though. And these guys, I think this is just a tad close to the book, so I'm going to move it over just a wee bit. And, oops, do you see what happened? I was inside the wrong box. You have to pay attention to what gets highlighted with the box when you're moving things around. So I got to get out of that. Now I'm in the right box, and I can move it just a wee bit. Ooh, and this just happened too. Do you see the 34 and the 34? What that is, it's telling you this is now exactly spaced out on the top and the bottom of that November 4th, 7 p.m. That's a handy tool to have, but I'm not there yet, so I'm going to just ignore that for the moment. November 4th, this is important, not quite as important as Author Chat to me, but I want it to be just a little bit smaller, not a lot smaller, just a little bit. And now Petra Church, New Holland. I'm going to shrink that quite a bit. And actually, I'm going to change that. And this is how design goes. You might go through this and say, you know, now that I look at it, I don't really like this. I want to get rid of New Holland, PA, because I think that's too much information for this little bitty slide. So I'm going to click inside the box. And now, do you see the cursor is blinking? That means I'm inside. So now I can just do like if I was in Word or any other document editing program, I could just hold my left click down and highlight what I want to get rid of and then hit delete. Now it shrunk the box, so it's only Petra Church and everything's centered. I've got what I want to have. And so I'm going to just make it just one little wee bit tinier there. Then what I want is to move this. And do you see I have another dotted line that's coming through all the text? So that's terrific. So now I know that vertically they're centered, just the text. But do you see I'm not, there we go. That's the other thing I was looking for. Now I've got my exact spacing between each one of those, and I'm going to let go. So this is great. I've got my information and I want to now get this even more centered. So I'm going to group all my text together so I can move it as a unit. So how I do that is I've already got one thing highlighted. I'm going to hit my shift key. I'm on a Mac, so it might be shift for you or it might be control if you're on a PC. Then I'm going to go to the next thing that I would like to include in this grouping, and I'm just going to click on it. And you see I have a white border that's coming around. I'm not done yet. I want to also include the author chat, so I still have my shift key held down. I'm going to click on that, and then I get this little menu that says group, and I go, yes, please group it for me. I just click on that, and now you can see the purple box is going around the entire text. So that means now if I want to move it, I just hold down my left, whatever that is, you know, and left click, there we go, until I find that horizontal line. So now I know I'm centered in the design. I'm going to let go. And now I think I still need these books to be bigger. They should be bigger because you can't see them. And I'm going to just play around with it for a minute and get it to a place where I like. Now, if I don't ever get it exactly how I want it, and maybe I say, gee, I wish I could have moved this book over top of this book a little bit more, that's when it's handy not to do what I did, where I just pulled the two of them together. If they were separate pieces, I could move it however I want. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. So there we go. Now, since I got rid of where Petra Church was located, I need to add one more piece of information, and that is, how do people find out more details about this event? How do they know if books are going to be available, if there's going to be, what time do the doors open? Do I need to bring cash or check or credit card? All of that. So I'm going to put another piece of information. I just clicked on text. So I went to title. Title showed up in the middle. I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to stretch this box out a bit. And I'm going to put my website. Now that's way too big. That's not the purpose of this, but I'm going to just put it there so people can see it. I don't have to write, for more information, go to. People already know that. Don't cloud your design with unnecessary information, and I would consider that as unnecessary. So since I've done that, I would even consider going back into this design and going to the time period and getting rid of the time. I'm going to just delete that. I have to hit delete again to get rid of the extra space. The reason I'm doing that is less is more on a design that's especially in social media, because people are just flipping through very quickly. And if you have a lot of stuff on, a lot of text on your design, they're not going to read it. It's just clouding it up again. So put what they absolutely need to have. And what they absolutely need to have is the date, because if they can't make that date, it doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter where the church is. They're not going to be able to go. So I'm going to leave that out, and I'm going to recenter that. And now I know I'm doing this by having my website there and not having complete information here. I'm driving people to my website. So I might be able to capture even more information from them if I've done that than if I had put every little detail within that design. So just make sure, if you're doing that, that you're keeping your website up to date. So when people click on it, they go to your website and they are actually able to find the information. One more word about that. You can provide a link to your website in this design. However, if you're on Facebook and you're trying to use that, they are for some reason not allowing you to do that in the original design. So if you have a link, you want to say link in the comments. So instead of here where it's www.kidspitpub, I would say link for info in comments. And I would do that instead. And then you put your link down there and it'll pop up with your, it makes no sense why my Facebook is doing this, but it'll pop up with your website and all that within that, that comment. So that's just a way to get around that. All right, so one final thing. I'm looking at this and I go, I don't mind the pink color. It kind of goes with that, but all this white is just kind of bothering me. So I'm going to click on that white again. And then I'm going to go to, do you see this new menu that came up? This is my background. So I can, instead of going over here and going down and finding background, I can just go to this little mini menu and hit background color. And it's going to give me all kinds of options. And I don't really want anything that's going to distract from the design. I just want to tone down the white a little bit. So I'm going to go with this cream color and see what that looks like. And actually, I kind of like that because this has cream in it and just kind of pulling the cream from there. And it does tone down the white, so that's better. Now, the last thing is I'm still bothered that this is too big. So I'm going to play this just so I can read author chat clearly. I'm going to pull it down till it's, there we go, horizontally correct. And I'll click out of design. And that's pretty much how we're going to end that design. It's very simple. Can you do other things with the fonts to make it interesting? Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want to make it prettier or more interesting to you. But the task for today is just let's keep it simple. All right, so let's say that we're done. We're good. We want to now use this thing. So what you want to do is do two things before you do that. This little box right here says title. Title your design. So what is it? So I'm going to just say author chat. And I might say Petra, because if I have more than one author chat, maybe I have a different one at a different church or a different location, I'll put the name there so I know where I can go back to that particular design. Then I'm going to go to the share button. And I just click on this. Now we can share this in a couple ways. This says people with access. So if I want to send this to somebody for them to get either their opinion or for them to work on, I would put their email right here. I want to go back. I don't want to do that though. I just want to download it for my own use. And so I'm going to click this button here. These are a lot of different things that you can do with your design. You can go directly to your Facebook page. Honestly, I don't use any of this, hardly ever. Again, we talked about print with Canva. I don't recommend that. Find a different printer. I like Vistaprint, but there's tons out there that do a good job. So what we want to do is click the download button. It's going to bring up yet another menu. And what you want to look at is file type. This is important. If you have to do this other little download, you have a variety of different ways that you can share this design. And they give you a little hint for what each one does. So a JPEG, that's your standard picture. That's when you're taking a picture on your phone. Generally, it's being saved as a JPEG. PNG, this is best for complex images and illustrations. So the difference really is, if for JPEG, if I'm going to email this design, I want to use a JPEG. It's a smaller file. PNG is a much bigger file. In my church, we used to have a humongous screen in the center of our platform up front, and all of our images were projected onto that. You need a lot of pixels for a big movie screen. If I did a JPEG, what would happen is the image would start to pixelate, which means that you'd see all those little squares in the design. So PNG prevents that, but it is a bigger file. So sometimes it's too big to share via email. PDF is exactly what you're used to seeing. The difference between standard and print is print. the PDF print is, if you're going to do something, say you're loading up something for KDP, you want to use PDF print. SVG you will probably never use, so we're not going to even talk about that. MP4 video is if I had used a video anywhere in this design, say instead of just this plain design, I wanted to use a video background, then I have to download it as an MP4 video. Otherwise, it just comes out as a still photograph. Kind of defeats the purpose of why you're doing it as a video. And a GIF, I don't even use that either, so we're not even going to talk about that. So what I would probably do with this design, because I know I want to use it on Facebook and I don't have to have a humongous one, even though they're suggesting it, I would probably just go with JPEG. And then we get yet another menu, and you have a choice. You can make it really dense with your PX as your pixels. Your file size right now is large. I can make it even larger, or I can just keep it more standard. There's a medium file, and I don't need it to be humongous, so I'm going to just bring it down to something more normal. Where this is helpful is if you are trying to just email it to somebody to get opinions, you want a smaller size to be able to mail. It depends on the design that you do. If they're graphically heavy, so if I used a lot of different pictures, it's going to be difficult to email, so I want to make it a smaller size. That's all. So once you've got it wherever you want, then all you do is hit download, and it will save your design to your download folder. On my computer, it just pops up a little image so I can look at it and say, oh yeah, isn't that pretty? That's exactly what I wanted it to look like. And if it's not, then I can go back in and fix it. So I'm going to X out of here. Now, one other little thing with this pop-up menu, if you had used a template and did not make any changes to that template, you are not allowed to download that and use it for other purposes. That's someone else's work. So you have to make a change. But let's say you forgot, or it was just not even a template. What if it was just a photograph, which I've shown you? I'm going to go back to that. So I'm going to go home and get out of this screen. And to get to home, I can either hit the back arrow or I can hit this open menu and then hit home again. And this was an image I showed you at the workshop that I wanted to use exactly as is. And I tried to download it. Let's see if it'll do it today, and I can show you. Oh, it's letting me. Okay. So this must be the one I actually changed. So the original design, when I tried to download it, it said, no, thank you. You can't do that. You need to make some change to this design before you can use it. And if you remember what I did with that, that's probably what is going on here, is that I used another square. I just put a square over top of it like this. I'm going to just do it real quick so you can see what I did. And then I made that transparent so I could see the design, but it toned it down just a little bit. And then that took care of the problem, and I could share it easily. So back to home. So I think that walks you through the entire process once again. From there, you really have all you need to know to use templates. It's the same principles. You'll still see all those little boxes around any images. You'll see the little dots and the little rectangles where you can make the boxes bigger or smaller, and you can go from there. So good luck with any design that you try and do. I hope it works out really well for you. Thank you.